Stage 5. The choice of body and family. Many people believe that birth is a random lottery, that you simply appear in any family, in any body, in any place. But the Codex Anime reveals something very different and much deeper. You chose all of this. Before incarnating, your soul, in full consciousness, was led to visualize different possibilities of bodies, family lineages, social and historical environments. And among all the options, you chose the one that best matched your life purpose. I know this idea can be hard to accept, especially when we look at lives full of pain, abandonment, poverty, abuse. It may seem absurd to imagine that someone would choose to go through that. But your soul does not think like the human ego. It sees every difficulty as a tool, every scar as a catalyst for awakening. It chooses not the easiest path, but the most powerful for its evolution. You didn't choose your parents for external appearances. You chose them for the invisible lessons they carried, perhaps to learn forgiveness, perhaps to break cycles of pain that have been repeating for generations, perhaps to strengthen yourself through overcoming. The same goes for your body. You chose the physical characteristics, the genetic predispositions, the limitations or facilities, because they would be perfect for the challenges and achievements you set out to experience. Nothing, absolutely nothing, was a mistake. When you understand this, you begin to look at your personal story with new eyes. Pain ceases to be injustice and becomes purpose. Resentment toward your parents or the environment you were born into can dissolve into understanding. You realize that the souls that challenged you the most on earth are often the ones who loved you the most in the spiritual plane, those who agreed to play difficult roles for your growth. And the transformation happens here. When you honor your soul's choices, you unlock the true power within you. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you recognize yourself as a free being who accepted the most courageous mission of all, to live and evolve through the human experience. Stage 6. The veil of forgetfulness. After choosing your mission, your body, your family, comes the most delicate moment of the soul's journey, crossing the veil of forgetfulness. In the spiritual plane, your soul knows everything. It remembers all its lives, understands the purpose of each existence, feels unity with the all. But for the human experience to be real, intense, and transformative, it is necessary to forget. It is necessary to be born without memories, like a blank page. The Codex Anime describes this moment as a silent crossing, a portal of glowing mist where, upon passing through, your soul leaves behind all awareness of eternal truths, not as punishment, not as a curse, but by choice. Imagine trying to play a game where you already know all the outcomes. There would be no excitement, no growth, uncertainty, mystery, doubt, pain. All of this is part of the plan. The veil is what makes the game of life real. It is what allows you to learn to love in the darkness, to trust the invisible, to find your way even without a map. That's why you don't remember the Council of Souls. That's why you don't recall choosing your parents. That's why you so often feel lost. The veil was placed with love, so that every step would be authentic. But the veil is not perfect. It is thin in some places, in dreams, in strong intuitions, in moments of deep silence. You feel echoes of your true origin. You feel homesick for a place you can't locate. You feel that there is something more waiting beyond what the eyes can see. That longing, that search, is your soul itself trying to pierce the veil, trying to remember. And the most beautiful thing is that you can start tearing this veil now, consciously. When you meditate, when you pay attention to subtle signs, when you follow your intuition without fear, small tears begin to appear. The light of who you really are starts to pass through. You remember that you are not just this body, not just this name, not just this story. You are eternal. And even if you have forgotten for a while, even if you have doubted, your essence has never changed. It has only slept, waiting for the right moment to awaken. If you feel you are ready to cross the veil of forgetfulness and truly live the purpose your soul chose, I invite you to the Quantum Thinking Challenge. In 21 days, you will reprogram your mind, raise your vibration, and access the dormant power within you. Many people have already awakened to a new reality and transformed their lives. Now it's your turn. The link is in the first pinned comment. See you on the other side. Stage 7, the leap of faith, birth. After crossing the veil of forgetfulness, after leaving behind the conscious memory of everything you planned, you arrive at the most courageous moment of the soul's journey, birth. The Codex Anime describes this moment as the true leap of faith. You, an eternal consciousness full of wisdom and love, dive into the dense layers of physical existence, without guarantees, without certainties, without conscious memories. Only pure trust. Only the invisible impulse of one who knows that life is the path to expansion. This leap is perhaps the greatest act of courage in all existence. You leave the vastness of the infinite to enter a fragile and vulnerable body. You accept the limitation of matter. You accept pain, fear, loss. You accept to forget who you are, so that through each human experience, you can remember again. You are born small, defenseless. You breathe for the first time. You cry. The physical world welcomes you, harsh and wonderful at the same time. Warmth, cold, touch. Everything is new. But inside you, something ancient remains. The spark of remembrance. Early childhood is the period when the soul is still very connected to its origin. Small children talk about past lives, converse with invisible friends, have dreams that seem like messages from other worlds. But over time, the veil becomes denser. Society shapes, conditions, teaches you to forget. And yet, you never forget completely. In moments of silence, of deep pain, of inexplicable joy, your soul whispers. It remembers the leap you took, remembers why you came. And if you listen, even if just for a flash, you will feel that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Each challenge you face is a chance to remember. Each love you experience is an echo of eternal truth. Each new beginning is a reminder that you were once courageous and you can be again. Now take a deep breath. Feel the weight of your own courage. You agreed to be born, agreed to forget, agreed to play the hardest game of all, to live as a human and still try to remember that you are divine. Birth is not just the beginning of physical life. It is the beginning of the great adventure of the soul seeking its own light. And now that you remember this, it is impossible to go back. Now that you have started to remember, an inevitable question arises. Why was all of this hidden from us? If our soul goes through this sacred process before birth, if each life has a purpose, if we are the architects of our own existence, why were we taught to live as victims? Why did we grow up believing we are small, limited, unworthy? The answer is simple and brutal, because conscious souls are not easy to control. Since the dawn of civilizations, those who held power realized a dangerous truth. A human being who remembers their true nature does not accept being manipulated, does not accept living in fear, does not accept the illusion of separation. Imagine a humanity where each person knew they are eternal, that they chose to be here, that they are co-creators of their own reality. Governments, religions, institutions would lose the ability to dictate rules through fear. Guilt, punishment, control, tools used for centuries, would simply stop working. That is why this knowledge was hidden, not just kept. It was intentionally erased, distorted, discredited. The Codex Anime is just one among many forbidden texts. Manuscripts that spoke of the soul's journey were banned, burned, buried in history. Masters who tried to remind humanity of their true origin were persecuted, ridiculed, silenced. But truth has its own power. It cannot be buried forever. It lives in the margins of ancient books, in the messages of dreams, in the whispers of your own heart. You feel it, don't you? That internal restlessness, that feeling that there's so much more than what was told. Is your soul trying to break through the wall of lies that was built around you? And the good news is, no one can stop your soul from awakening. The power to remember who you are has always been, and will always be, within you. Now, knowing this, you have a choice. You can go back to sleep as those who built the forgetting want, or you can move forward, break old patterns, and live as what you have always been, an eternal, free, and conscious being. Now that you know the truth was hidden, the next question is inevitable: how to start remembering who you truly are. The Codex Anime says that the memory of the soul is not completely erased, as it remains dormant, like a seed under the earth, waiting for the right conditions to bloom. And these conditions can be created. Remembering who you are does not happen in a magical flash. It is a process, a gradual reunion with what has always been inside you. And the more you align with certain practices and signs, the easier it becomes to tear the veil, and let your true light emerge. It all starts with silence. Modern life is noisy, chaotic, full of distractions, and this is intentional. Because in silence you begin to hear what was forgotten. Meditating even for a few minutes a day is like lighting a lantern in the darkness of consciousness. Each deep breath, each moment of mindfulness brings you closer to your essence. Then there are dreams. The Codex reveals that during sleep the soul partially frees itself from the body's limitations. Lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, recurring symbols, all of these are fragments of memory of your true origin trying to reach you. Do not ignore your dreams. Write them down, reflect on them, ask yourself, what is my soul trying to remind me? I've had dreams where I met a person that, in this life, I had never seen before, but when I woke up I had the intense feeling that I had known them for a long time. Or dreams of houses and places where I felt very good, familiar, but that I had never seen or visited in this earthly life. Another powerful way is to follow your intuition. Logic has been exalted in the modern world as the only reliable path, but the soul whispers through intuition. Sometimes without apparent reason you feel like changing your path, talking to someone, starting a new project. These impulses, if pure and aligned, are not coincidences. They are memories of the soul in action. And above all, remember, you are not alone. The Council of Souls, your spiritual guides, your own higher essence, they are all still here, waiting for you to make space for the reunion. When you sincerely ask for help, the universe responds, always. Awakening is an act of courage. It is stepping out of autopilot. It is refusing the narrative of fear, limitation, and guilt. It is choosing every day to remember, I am eternal, I am light, I am the creator of my reality. Do not wait for the world to change for you to begin. Do not wait for everything to be perfect to act. The world changes when you change. Your life blooms when you choose to bloom. And if something inside you resonated with everything you heard so far, know this, your awakening has already begun.